For the record, my name is Brian Worrell, District 4 City Councilor, and I am the Vice Chair of the Boston City Council Committee on City Services and Innovation Technology. Today is August 1st, 2023. This hearing is being recorded. It is also being live streamed at boston.gov/city-council-tv and broadcast on Xfinity Channel 8, RCN Channel 82, Fios Channel 964. Written comments may be sent to the committee email at ccc.csit@boston.gov and will be made a part of the record and available to all councilors. Public testimony will be taken at the end of this hearing. Individuals will be called on in the order in which they signed up and will have 2 minutes to testify. If you are interested in testifying in person, please add your name to the sign-up sheet near the entrance of the chamber. If you're looking to testify virtually, please email our Central Staff Liaison, Megan Cavaughan, I know I messed that up, sorry, Cavaughan, at megancavaughan@boston.gov for the link and your name will be added to the list. Today's hearing is on docket number 1133. Message in order for your approval and in order to reduce the FY23 appropriation for the reserve for collective bargaining by $1,705,142 to provide funding for the Boston Public Schools for the FY23 increases contained with the collective bargaining agreement between the Boston Public Schools and the Boston Association of School Administration and Supervisors, also known as the BASAS. And also docket number 1134, message in order for your approval, a supplemental order for the Boston Public Schools Department for FY23 in amount of $1,705,142 to cover the FY23 costs contained within the collective bargaining agreement between the Boston Public Schools and the Boston Associations of Schools and Supervisors, also known as the BASAS. The terms of the contracts are September 1st, 2020 through August 31st, 2022, and September 1st, 2022 to August 31st, 2024. The major provisions of the contracts include base wages increases of 2%, 2.5%, 2.5%, and 2.5% to be given in September of each fiscal year of the contract term, as well as other cost items including inclusion reform implementation. Filed in the office of the City Clerk on June 26, 2023. This matter was sponsored by the administration and was referred to the committee on June 28, 2023. Today I'm joined by my colleagues in the order of arrival, District City Councilor Ed Flynn, and I'll give it to Councilor President Ed Flynn for opening remarks.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you for bringing us here together. Thank you to the panelists. Mr. Chair, I don't have any opening statement. I'm going to listen closely to the panelists, and then from their opening statement, I'll have follow-up questions. So, thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Council President. I'll provide a brief opening remarks. Just want to thank my council members who are present to review this contract. And thank you to Jeremiah Hansen, James Williamson, who have taken the time to come here today. Schools require extreme coordination, managing competing demands to ensure that our teachers are adequately supported and our students are adequately prepared to teach and learn every day. I'm looking forward to taking this opportunity to hear more about the new contract provisions between BPS and BASAS and look forward to discussion. I'm joined now I'd like to introduce today's panel testifying on behalf of the administration. Jeremiah Hansen, Director of Labor Relations for Boston Public Schools, and James Williamson, OBM Director for City of Boston. The floor is yours.
Great. Thank you, Chair Worrell and Council President Friend. We appreciate this opportunity to share information about the BASAS union contract and its impact on the city's budget. My name is Jim Williamson. I'm the Budget Director for the City of Boston. I'm here to address the 2 appropriation orders before you and the transactions they represent. I'm also joined by my colleague Jeremiah Hassan from the BPS labor team, who will address the specifics of the contract that supports the appropriation transfer. So dockets 1133 reduces the FY23 collective bargaining reserve, and docket 1034 increases the BPS appropriation. The FY23 budget, this past year's budget, passed by the Boston City Council in June 2022, included a $75.4 million collective bargaining reserve in aggregate. Since July 1, 2022, the City Council has passed about 22 collective bargaining agreements, drawing the reserve total to $41.8 million for several city, public health commission, and BPS unions. With this reduction of an additional $1.7 million for the BASAS union, the new balance of the FY23 reserve will be $32 million, and that will be held in reserve for the remaining outstanding contracts. With that, I will turn it over to other members of the panel.
Thank you, Jim. Chairman Worrell, thank you for having us. President Flynn, thank you for being here. Ms. Kavanaugh, thank you. Just to highlight a few of the terms that Chair Worrell touched on earlier. So this is a wage pattern. Well, first, let me back up a little bit. So this unit basis represents our administrators and supervisors, both school-based and centrally based, excluding principals. So what that is our assistant principals, directors of instruction, directors in the Office of Special Education, assistant directors in the Office of Special Education. So operational leaders, I don't want to leave any critical groups out, but you get the point. They're administrators and supervisors in the school district. They play a critical role in leading our district, both at schools and centrally. We enjoy a strong working relationship with this unit. President Dominic Sacchetti and Vice President Diane Mustone-Hauser have been great to work with, very collaborative. So we're recommending your support and a recommendation to approve this supplemental funding. Some of the terms that I just want to highlight with this group, in addition to the general wage increases that you had mentioned previously, which is consistent with our other bargaining units for the school committee, there also is an additional 2% spread over 3 years for the role of this unit in our inclusion reform that you saw we discussed at length when it came to our Boston Teachers Union contract. These members play a critical role in that implementation of the district's new inclusion reform. So you'll see we're also recommending a consistent wage increase that we saw with the BTU, which is 2% spread over 3 years. I just wanted to clarify that for the council, that it'll be an additional 0.5 in FY22, 1% in FY23, and 0.5 in FY24. Again, the additional language modifications I think you touched on, but revising the holiday language to make it more inclusive to our members, some amendments to the bereavement leave language to provide a little bit more flexibility in the event of a death of an immediate family member, and updating their parental leave policy to make it more consistent with both the City of Boston's paid parental leave policy and the parental leave policy that we have negotiated with our other units. So I'm happy to answer any additional specifics you have about this unit or the contract, but again, we recommend, request your support in voting for this funding.
Thank you. Now I'll turn it over to my council colleague for any questions.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So this contract, just to be clear, this is for administrative and support supervisors. That includes assistant principals, but not principals, though.
That is correct, President Flynn. It's not the Education Reform Act excluded principals from collective bargaining. So
okay.
They are not included, but it is the other members of an administrative team at a school, I'm sorry, as well as many central office supervisors and administrators.
Okay. I know the contract calls for 2%, 2.5, 2.5, 2.5, and then there's an additional 2% that be spread out over 3 years. Is that correct?
That is correct. Over the final 3 years of the agreement, it is consistent with the wage increases that we saw for the Boston Teachers Union based on our reform of the inclusion language in the teachers' contract, and as well as some of the additional work that we know is going to happen both for that unit, but also our BASAS members are going to be leading a lot of that work.
As it relates to the percentages, cost of living, inflation, it seems to me that those percentages of a pay raise are low. Is that fair to say?
Well, I wouldn't characterize them as low when I look at what has been negotiated both throughout for our other city groups and our Boston Public Schools groups. This is a group of relatively speaking highly paid BPS employees, as you'd expect from our administrators and supervisors. I think it's maybe worth pointing out that this isn't one of our groups that requires residency because of the state law that prohibits residency requirements for supervisors in school districts.
Is that the best? Is that the best we can do as a city, as BPS, that we only can give someone a percentage of about between 2% and 3%? Is that the best we can do? If we increased it, it would have a significant financial impact on BPS. Is that accurate?
Well, yeah, I think I want to point out that it is a collectively negotiated contract.
No, I know,
So
I know.
them,
You guys, I'm going to support it. I'm going to vote for it. But I want to make sure that I know that if you did go higher than the 2% or the 2.5%, that would have a significant financial impact on BPS. Is that accurate?
Well, I would want one of our finance team members to come and discuss specifically the impact. But yes, when we negotiate these, obviously there's other unions that we work with. We work with
But
11 additional. So I think.
No, I know. I do this. As Jim knows, on not just on with you guys, but I do it on a lot of unions. I am somewhat troubled that we're only paying employees a 2% or a 2.5% pay increase when inflation is so high, the cost of living is so high. I'm just trying to advocate for us to look at things a little differently, where when you're giving someone a 2.5% pay raise after inflation, it's really not a lot of money.
Obviously, the city it's an expensive city to live and work in, so I understand that concern. I think that's a concern that the superintendent also has and has expressed, and the school committee has and expressed. So we are always looking at opportunities that we can make our positions to be the most attractive in the state. We want to encourage members or employees both to come to Boston and to stay in Boston once they're here. So, I think this is an agreement that will expire in August of 2023, or 2024, I'm sorry. So I think it's an opportunity before then to look at what we can do to, as city council, obviously you have a big say in the budgeting process and the money that's allocated to the school district. So I think that's something that we can explore as a district and as a school committee in how to increase wages across the board for this group all the way down to our other units that are even lower paid.
Well, let me put Jim on the hot seat. Jim, is this the best we can do?
This is what the numbers are. It's similar to previous agreements. It's a little bit of a catch-up, as Jeremiah just noted. In some of the pay periods, this is retroactive through. There were more challenging years looking back all the way to FY21. But obviously, as we approach the next round, fair wages. This was obviously agreed to and by the membership. So we take that's a good sign that the membership is in agreement with this. So we feel we can we can move. But just to answer the question about what additional percentages, that does add incrementally to reserves, and we have to be prepared to pay for it, so.
Okay. My final question. Talk to me about the new contract, what you're signing here today, what we're approving. What impact does this have on parental leave policy? A woman sent me a memo that is several months pregnant with their first child. She's not necessarily sure, or the clarity about appropriation of the funds to the salary to increase would be to support women that are about to have a child. What is the parental leave policy that would help this woman and protect this woman, protect her job, support her child? What are we doing for that administrator?
Yes, so as part of, and to back up a little bit, the overall package is divided into two separate MOAs. So we have the first MOA will cover years 1 and 2 from September 1st, 2020 to August 31st, 2022. The second will kick in on September 1st, 2023, and cover through August 31st, 2024. I want to make sure I'm correct on that. So effective 9/1/23 will be the addition of paid parental leave that's consistent with the City of Boston's current paid parental leave policy, which will offer, and I want one of our leave specialists here to cover all the details, but as I understand it, it's going to cover the first 4 weeks will be fully paid. The second 4 weeks are paid at 75%. The third 4 weeks are paid at 50%. Employees are able to supplement those wages with their accrued unused sick and personal time. So I think for individual members, we'd have to get into the specifics of how long she's worked with the district and some of those things, make sure she qualifies, having worked for the district for a year, things like that. So without touching on like an individual's case, I don't want to venture into an area that would be confidential employee information, but that's kind of the general parameters of the changes to the parental leave that was negotiated by the parties.
So let me ask you a follow-up question. Is this union contract, the language in this contract, different from the City of Boston standard parental leave policy? Is this administrator getting less hours or less services or more services or the same?
No, they would be, assuming they qualify under the cities, and the qualification standards are the same as the cities, as I understand it, they would be getting the same benefits. I know there are some minor changes or implementation changes because...
Well, yeah, what are those implementation? I think that's what she's asking me. I want to make sure that this woman has the opportunity to stay with her child and be compensated, which I think she should be, but she's asking some of those kind of questions. I want to make sure that she is covered and that she is heard during this process.
Yeah, and I think for a specific employee, she should connect directly with our leaves team because obviously there are factors in play for each individual employee that I don't know if it would be, I don't think it would be appropriate to discuss in a public forum like this, but also would have to look at her, whether she qualifies in terms of being employed for a year, working the requisite number of hours. I believe it's 1,250 hours to qualify for the parental leave, but assuming she does qualify, the benefits would be consistent with the city and would be the same as what is offered for city employees. Now, where some of the implementation changes that I mentioned are a little unique to the school is based on the calendar that school employees work as opposed to more traditional 12-year calendars, calendared employees, or 12-month calendared employees.
So are you saying the implementation or the time frame, would this person be using time, say during the month of July, if it happened that way, should be using time even though she's not in school? Is that what you're getting at?
So it really depends on her position, because BASAS members have ranging workday requirements, anywhere from, I believe, 207 is the lowest work year requirement, up to some members have 225 workday requirements. So because they vary in how many days they have to work to get their full salary, I don't know if she typically works in July. Some of our BASAS members do, some do not. So that's where it would really be a case-specific situation.
But the implementation is, are you still working on the implementation, that there's still some outstanding issues relating to that?
Well, the parties' agreement calls for this new change to go into effect September 1st, 2023.
Okay.
So it'll kick in on that date. I think our leaves team and Office of Human Capital are fairly confident that we're in a good position to implement it on day one of September.
All right, I just don't want, when we come to September 1st, I just want anyone that falls into this category, that they are heard, they are respected, they are getting all the services and time and compensation that they're entitled to. I don't want anything to fall through the cracks. Is that you agree with that?
Oh, absolutely, President. And I would recommend, if she hasn't already done so, to make sure that she does reach out directly to our Human Capital Leaves team, so that they can work through the specifics of what she's entitled to currently and what she'll be entitled to effective September 1st.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair. I have no further questions.
Thank you, Council President. I just have a couple questions. One, how does this contract compare to other school administrators in other similar cities? Cities, towns, or can you touch on that? Like, where do we rank?
So I don't have a specific ranking. I will say that we always look at surrounding districts and make sure that we are, if not the most competitive, up there with our other districts that surround, whether that's Cambridge, Brookline, Somerville, and then comparing ourselves to some of the bigger districts like Worcester and Springfield. We look at those and make sure that we are, as I mentioned, we want to be one of the most attractive districts, if not the most attractive district in the state in terms of benefits and compensation. So we're fairly confident that it's a good agreement that makes us an attractive district to be in. The unit worked well with us to get this agreement, so obviously the union feels that it's fair and something that will help boost their membership. I know right now we've seen a little bit of an increase in positions. We currently are up to 268 BASAS members, which is a jump just from a few months ago. We were at 245, and it's my understanding that we have even more positions to fill this summer. So we're looking forward to getting this contract approved, getting these wage increases implemented in the contract and implemented so that we can advertise these new rates to employees, and we're confident that will increase our applicant pool for the available positions too.
Awesome. And touching on the new members, you said it jumped from 245 to 258 or 248?
The most recent numbers I was told as of this morning are up to 268. And I believe we have 311 full-time budgeted positions. So that may be, there are a few positions that might not be 1.0, they might be like a 0.8 position. So There might be a few more actual positions, but it's my understanding that we have 311 full-time positions budgeted for this new school year. And
So this contract covers the 311 full-time budgeted positions?
Well, it will, but
Right.
part of this contract goes back to 2020, so that the retro wage increases that we're looking at would not cover all of those employees. It would just cover the employees that actually work during
Right.
the time period that's covered. But just to say a little bit more, all of those 311 will benefit from the new contract because starting wages will be that much higher once we implement the new wage increases.
And then you also, when going back and forth with Council President Flynn, you talked about catch up in the percentage of wages. Would you say that we are now caught up in terms of the increases?
Well, once we're able to implement the retroactive portion of the contract, so going back fiscal year 21, 22, 23, once we're fully approved, those are implemented, we'll be in a much better position with our wages to be able to attract those either members from outside the district or internally. And then, yes, we will be up to date and we will be current, and we have every expectation of being proactive in this next round of bargaining. As I mentioned to Jim, that we're already starting to plan and prepare for this unit as well as our other units, and we'll be sending over requests about financial authority and information from the cities as we prepare for those. So we're confident that once this, assuming it's supported and voted on and approved, when we can implement this, we'll be in a really good position for this upcoming year and moving forward.
And then I'm glad that we're moving towards a more equitable method of permitting religious holidays. Some holidays like Passover might last more than a week and more secular individuals remain excluded. Are there any other models that we considered going forward to ensure all individuals may engage in religious and cultural events that are relevant to them?
Well, yeah, so just to provide a little bit more detail there, so the old language of the contract provided clear or named holidays for our Jewish members, some of our Muslim members, but it was limited to those named holidays. What we're doing is revising the language to provide everyone 2 days for religious observances. So as long as you have a sincerely held religious belief, you can take off, put in with the Office of Equity and get a paid day off without losing personal time for that day. And it recognizes the fact that, as we become a more inclusive district, not everybody is a member of these traditional religions. So rather than just providing a new list that may still exclude certain days or certain religious holidays, we have just opened it up. Okay, members will be permitted up to 2 days a year to take religious holidays. If there are more days than that, they do also have paid personal time, or you can go to our Office of Equity and submit a request for, if you've used up your religious days, used up your personal time, it's my understanding that they will explore an accommodation so that you can take the time off. You may not be paid after you've exhausted all the paid options, but you would be able to take it off, provided you meet the qualifications.
And then can you just describe for us, the paid family leave and the extended bereavement policy?
Yeah, so the extended bereavement policy is for, really a few situations came up during the COVID pandemic where under our current policy, if an immediate family member passes away, you were able to take up to 5 days, but it was triggered by the event, which is the death of a family member. And I think because of the COVID pandemic, celebrations started to get delayed. So, a family member may pass away, but then the funeral was 2-3 weeks, or the celebration of life was 2-3 weeks down the road, and a member may have to travel out of town beforehand, that wouldn't technically qualify under the bereavement leave because it wasn't within a week after the triggering event, the death of the family member. So what we did was, they brought it to us. It was kind of a unique request that we haven't seen with our other unions. Maybe we will now, but saying, look, we've had, this came up with a few of our members. We think it would be changed. We looked at it and said, yeah, that's a reasonable request, to be able to take maybe 1 or 2 days immediately following the death, and then that other day, 2 days, 3 days, whatever it may be, whatever the member may need, at a time later.
And is that capped? Is that the amount of days under bereavement capped?
Yeah, so we did not add to the number of days. We just increased the flexibility of when you could take it.
All right, and how many days can you?
It varies depending on the relationship with the member, but for an immediate family member, it's 5 days. I think for maybe 1 for a cousin. I don't have the exact language in front of me, but I know it does. It varies depending on the relationship. But the longest is 5 days for an immediate family member. But again, that can be added to with paid personal days if necessary.
Thank you. I have no further questions. Council President Flynn, any further questions or closing remarks?
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you again to the panelists for being here, for the important work you're doing. Is the Boston Public Schools considering Lunar New Year eventually to be a holiday in the city? Over the pandemic, we have had significant increases in anti-Asian racism, anti-Asian violence. The city of Boston, the city council rather, supported a holiday, Lunar New Year holiday, to celebrate the Asian community here in Boston, celebrate their accomplishments, their sacrifices to our city and country, but it might go a long way showing respect for a group of residents that were subjected to terrible injustices, in my opinion, during the pandemic, where they were almost blamed for COVID-19, and because of that, we saw an escalation of violence. We saw an escalation of hate speech. But I highlight that because it is important to recognize the contributions that the Asian community has played in our school system. So is there something that you're considering to maybe include Lunar New Year as a holiday?
So I am not in a position right now to speak on whether or not the school committee is exploring designating that as a full holiday in terms of closing schools down throughout the city. I know Lunar New Year is a day that would be acceptable to take off under this new language. I think if the city of Boston were to designate it as a holiday that closed to all office buildings, I assume that the schools would follow suit on that. But I'm just not in a position right now to know whether or not our school committee is exploring that as a school holiday and not a full city holiday. But again, if the city were to designate it as a full holiday, I assume the schools would follow suit. And right now, if an employee does celebrate Lunar New Year, that is a day that they could put in with our Office of Equity to take off that day.
I'm going to put Jim back on the hot seat. Jim, what is your opinion?
I'm not aware of that being discussed, but I certainly can inquire about it.
Okay. Mr. Chair, thank you for holding this hearing. And again, thank you to the panelists for providing excellent information to us and to the public. Thank you.
Thank you, Council President Flynn. Thank you to the panelists. Also, thank you to Central staff, and thank you to my team for all your work on making this happen. The hearing on docket number 1133 and 1134 is adjourned.